everyone, welcome to our YouTube channel. I am Dr. Ashwati. Students, in this lecture, I have selected one thinker from the ancient India, and that is Kautilya. Kautilya, also known as Chanakya, is one of the most prominent theorists who is not just read in India but also across the world because of his realistic approach or the realism. As you have studied in international relations about realism, that realism is all about there is a anarchy in the world, there is lack of institution to govern the relations between the states. So, states actually they work on survival and they actually try to do their own self-help, statism. These are the principal features of realism. But yes, when we look at the Kautilyan Arthashastra, we find that he is one of the earliest realist thinker from the world. And there is one more important aspect about Kautilya is that his ideas, whatever ideas he has propounded in his Arthashastra is read throughout the world as well as studied in the military science. So, first we will start with his life. So, Kautilya was a teacher and a very important scholar and strategist, and he actually worked at the famous Indian university at the Takshashila. Nowadays, it is in Afghanistan. And Takshashila, the ancient times, that are what I am referring to. He helped one of his students, Chandragupta, in dislodging the Nandas or the ruling dynasty of Magadh and establishing the Mauryan dynasty. So, he helped one of his students, Chandragupta Maurya, to establish the Mauryan dynasty, okay, by ending the Nanda dynasty. The text of the Arthashastra is attributed to this teacher who is also known as Chanakya and Vishnugupta, and the various important the Arthashastra which was written by him, and this was actually a kind of a culmination of his ideas, and it is not a very small text, it is a very huge text and it is written in volumes and it has various parts also that we will be discussing. And Kautilya has different names also, Chanakya and Vishnugupta as well. So, these informations are also very important ones. Now, his major work was Arthashastra, and Arthashastra has it was written in 15 parts or books, 180 divisions, 150 chapters and 6,000 verses or shlokas. So, now you can imagine that it is such a big work. Okay, it is divided into 15 books, and I have found the information that the book 1 is related to the king, ministers and other officers, like he has dedicated one whole book to describe about the functions, duties and various other aspects about the king, ministers and their subordinates. Then book 2 is associated with the duties of various executive officers. Book 3 is about the themes of law and administration. Book 4 is about the suppression of crime. Book 5 is associated with the salary of officials. Book 6 is about the elements of a state and foreign policy. Then after book 7 is the additional information about the foreign policy. Book 8 deals with the calamities, and the book 9 deals with the war preparations. Then book 10 is about the art of fighting war. Then book 11, how a conqueror should tackle the oligarchies. Book number 12 deals with the how a weak king can let's say that can tackle a stronger king or overcome a strong king. Book 13, how to conquer enemies fort. Fort in Sanskrit is called the durg. And book 14 describes about the occult and secret practices, and book 15 is about the methodologies and logical techniques. So, here you can say that it is written in 15 volumes or 15 parts or 15 books. It has like 180 divisions, 150 chapters and 6,000 verses or the shlokas. Moving ahead. So, here now I am going to talk about the elements of the state, that is the Saptang theory. So, first comes the king, that is the swami. The king, in his work he has described like the king has to keep himself away from a number of vices. He should not indulge himself in some luxuries that he forgets the administration and his other practice like his danda niti or his dharma niti. All these things are very important to him. Then after the amatya, amatyas are called as the ministers or the high other officials. Okay, so this is the second element. So first element is the swami or the king. The second element is that of the ministers. Third is the janapada or the rashtra, the territory. Like he has also described that what are the natural resources that you should be having. You should, while you are having a territory, what should be its future features, what sort of infrastructures that you have to develop. Every sort of detail he has provided there. So his basic idea was to avoid the Matsya Nyaya, which is the law or the what we call it as the law of fish, which says that the big fishes eat the smaller fishes. It means that the stronger eats the stronger can actually conquer the weaker. So you have to become that stronger one. You have to contain the anarchic situation. He also spoke about the welfare is a very important duty of the king, because if welfare duties are not done by the king, then there is a possibility that the people may revolt against the king, and it is going to endanger the monarch's seat as well. Then after durg, so this is durg, which means the fortified town and the cities. It means that the king as well as his administration has to take care of the fort system, which is a kind of a creation of a man-made, a kind of a protection. Like the in old times, the forts were actually used as a kind of a technique to deal with that of enemy. If there is a conquer, if any conquer happens, then how you have to make the strategies also. It provides you with a kind of a strategy. If you have seen Bahubali, or you have seen the the recent movie, there was one movie also, war movie was there. Okay, I'm just forgetting the title. So Ponniyin Selvan, yes, that movie is also there, where you can see the big forts were constructed by the kings in those days. So it was a kind of it helped in thwarting the enemy for some time before you can make your own strategy. Then after we have the kosha, which is the treasury, the money matters, the finances, how you have to deal with the revenue, how to generate the revenue, all these things were dealt in this section. Then after you have danda. Danda is the force or the system of punishment, how the army, everything was part of this danda niti. Okay, so you know that the whole ancient tradition was based on two things. One was ensuring the dharma niti, and second one was the danda niti. Then we have the mitra or the allies. What sort of friendships you can build upon, like in the mandala theory also, he has spoken about the mitra, arimitra, ari-mitra and various other things as well, which actually the having allies is also very important. When you are having the enemies, then you have to create your own friends as well, where you can actually find certain types of compatibility. Now moving ahead, theory on warfare. This is also a very important theory by Kautilya. So Kautilya has highlighted 4 basic forms of warfare. So the first type is called as the mantra yuddha, war by counsel or use of diplomacy by a weaker king who finds it unwise to fight against a stronger adversary. So this is a kind of a technique used as kind of a negotiations are used, the mantra yuddha. It means that it is more dialogic and it is a kind of a what we say cunning method. Then after we have the prakash yuddha, regular warfare where opposing armies fight according to the established rules and regulation. This is norm based, which is called as the prakasha yuddha. First is mantra yuddha, second is the prakasha yuddha. Third is the kuta yuddha, irregular warfare including ambushes and raids. This is like guerrilla techniques that are used. Here it is not norm based. This is only about winning the war, which is called as a kuta yuddha. Then you have the tushnim yuddha, includes the covert operations like sabotage and targeted killings. This is much more dangerous than the kuta yuddha. So here any sort of means in human techniques can be used, and here the only aim is to, like we have the end and means, right? So here the means can be anything, the end is to win the war. So we have the Mantra Yuddha, then after Prakasha Yuddha, Kuta Yuddha, as well as the Tushnim Yuddha. So, this is all about Kautilya, and for more information, stay tuned for more videos. So, students, thank you for watching this lecture. Bye.